Hello everybody, you're welcome back again to the Reggae Appreciation Society. As everyone knows, life isn't really fair, and as far as the reggae genre is concerned, no one exemplifies this unfortunate fact more than the great and talented Junior Byles, who just passed away at the age of 76. One of the brightest stars to emerge at the dawn of the roots reggae era in the early 1970s, and the man simply had it all. The songwriting skills, a conscious Rastafarian outlook, and a gentle but powerful voice that was simply bursting with emotions and vision. And to cap all these attributes, he had the support of the eccentric genius in Lee Scratch Perry as a producer and mentor. From being a member of a group, he would launch out into a solo career and was among the frontline stars in Jamaica thanks to a slew of awesome, incredible singles and albums that were smash hits on the island and beyond. But just like one of Junior Byles' idols in Slim Smith, he was troubled by mental health issues, and his condition would go out of control, all due to the shock of the death of Emperor Haile Selassie in 1975. It would destroy his career, his family, and put an end to one of the most promising careers in reggae history. A devout Rastafarian till the very end, one of his last requests was to be taken to Africa to see it before he died. His story is among the most intriguing and yet tragic that I've come across in reggae history. So now let's pay a tribute and take a look at the tragic story of the great Junior Byles. He was born Kenneth Byles Jr. on the 17th of July 1948 at the Jubilee Hospital in Kingston, Jamaica. The son of a mechanic father and a school teacher mother who were both devout Christians, and as such, young Junior's exposure to music came as a member of the family's local church choir. Growing up in Jonestown, he became a big fan of local musical heroes like Slim Smith, the Wailers, and the Maytals. He loved music, but after leaving high school, he would follow in his dad's footsteps by learning to be a mechanic. But the allure of music was too strong, and in 1967, he formed a harmony trio with two other singers that was called the Versatiles. They auditioned at the prestigious Jamaican Festival Song Contest that same year, and though they weren't successful, they caught the attention of producer Joe Gibbs. He signed them up and took them back to his studio to record some songs. The then chief studio engineer at Gibbs Studio was Lee Scratch Perry, who would oversee the production of their superb songs like Trust the Book and my favorite, The Time Has Come.
The time has come once again. Let's get together, my friend.
He struck up good chemistry with the trio, but fell out with Joe Gibbs not long after and left him to do his own thing, before being replaced by Winston Niney Holness, aka The Observer. They remained with Joe Gibbs for 2 more years before going over to reunite with Lee Scratch Perry in 1969. The Versatiles would break up in 1970, but Junior Byles had built a strong relationship with Perry and kept on working with him. Bob Marley and the Wailers had been Perry's pet project, but they had just parted ways over money. So Perry saw in Junior Byles a strong replacement and a super talented singer that he could propel to superstardom. And their first song together was the sublime What's the World Coming To, a moderate hit, but one that showed plenty of potential. Junior Byles was by then a devout Rastafarian, and it showed in his next songs like Beat Down Babylon, Place Called Africa, and King of Babylon. But for the 1971 Jamaica Song Festival contest, he and Perry would switch it up with a very naughty song called Rub Up. The song was a strong entry to that contest and might have won, mind you, but its suggestive lyrics and content was noticed by the media and it was disqualified in the finals. Junior Byles would clean up with a song called Festival Dada in 1972, which came in second to Toots and the Maytals, who won that year's contest. Junior Byles, like most reggae musicians, was a supporter of Michael Manley, who was sympathetic to the Rastafarians, and he would put out some songs in support of his candidacy for Prime Minister, like Beat Down Babylon and Joshua's Desire. But in 1973, Junior Byles put out the biggest song of the year in Fever, a track regarded as one of Lee Scratch Perry's greatest productions. Junior Byles' debut album, Beat Down Babylon, was also a resounding success, with my favorite track on that album titled When Will Better Come, that was a criticism of the then Prime Minister Michael Manley, who he had supported up until then. But in 1974, Junior Byles and Lee Scratch Perry would unleash, I believe, the greatest product of their collaboration in the exquisite Curly Locks.
Curly love,
stunning fusion of Junior Byles' gentle, breezy, yet phenomenal powerful voice and Lee Scratch Perry's flawless instrumentals. The song was a big hit in Jamaica and also made major waves in the UK, and Curly Locks would cement his position as one of the icons of roots reggae for the 1970s. But beneath all the promise of success, all was not well behind closed doors. Junior Byles had suffered from depression for a while and had over time become more withdrawn and moody. Lee Scratch Perry, on the other hand, was well known for being volatile and sparky, and over time, these polar opposite personalities would see a breakdown in their relationship and cause their partnership to fail. Junior Byles left Perry to pitch his tent with the Jamman label that was run by Dudley Swaby and Leroy Hollett, and his hot streak continued as he would put out hits like Know Where You're Going and Remember Me, and he would over the course of 1975 put out other hit singles for various producers like Ain't Too Proud to Beg and the powerful Fade Away, which was produced at Channel 1 Studios by Jojo Hukim and was a massive smash hit in Jamaica and the UK. It was simply a masterclass in militant Rastafarian rich reggae. Junior Byles was hot to say the least by then, with what was an unstoppable trajectory and seemed to be on the cusp of an international breakthrough when in August that year, Emperor Haile Selassie died after being deposed in a military coup. The emperor's death hit every Rastafarian really hard, but Junior Byles was devastated. Coupled with his fragile mental and emotional state, he simply snapped. He attempted suicide and was very lucky to survive, but he was never the same, and he vanished from the music scene for more than a year as he was in and out of sanatoriums in Kingston. In 1978, he pulled himself together enough to attempt a comeback by recording singles for Joe Gibbs and Nine The Observer, but they all flopped. His condition would worsen and he would disappear for over 4 years, re-emerging in 1982 to work on a new album with a New York-based label called Wackies. And this project was stretched for a very long time, and it was while working on this new album that he would be hit with a trilogy of tragedies, the first of which was his mother dying, his home burnt to the ground in a fire, and his wife and kids leaving him to emigrate to the US. The album, titled Rasta No Pickpocket, was eventually released in 1986, but it failed to make even a ripple in the market. And terribly, by late 1987, Junior Byles was homeless, totally penniless, and was simply unrecognizable. He would be seen wandering the streets, scavenging for food in garbage cans and begging passers-by for food. Longtime collaborator Winston Holness, aka 90, would try and intervene and took him into the studio to record some songs, and they put out great tracks, but despite their impact, Junior Byles would fade into the background once again. His old pal and guitarist Elchina Smith would take him on tour with him between 1997 and 1998. And while those tours made some waves, they had no effect on Junior Byles' fortunes. Efforts by his longtime friends in the music business saw him make a return to touring and performances in Jamaica and the UK in 2004, where he showed awesome flashes of the musical genius who had wowed audiences in the 70s. However, a diagnosis of prostate cancer before the end of 2018 would add to the already dire situation. A benefit concert was held not long after in his honor to raise money for his medical treatment in 2019, and many people chipped in to save his life. And in fact, Bounty Killers Foundation even made a huge donation in 2020. And not much was heard about him for the next few years, until the terrible news began to emerge that he had passed away in Kingston on Thursday, the 15th of May 2025. I was really saddened by the news, but was comforted by the fact that he finally at rest. A truly gifted, unique, and wonderful person, loved by his peers up until the very end. It's yet again a sad day for reggae, but we can take solace in the beautiful music that he left behind and appreciate his brilliant work, which will live in our hearts forever. Rest in peace, Junior Byles. So there you have it. Thank you for watching this video today. Please leave a like, subscribe, and until next time, God bless.